Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be do this when she backs away and says she needs space. I've got an email. This is actually from a guy who's relatively new for my work, and he says he hasn't read 3% Man yet. So it's obvious he's cherry picking from videos, which I say all the time may give you some attainable success, some short-term success, but it's not going to give you sustainable success because there are no shortcuts to success. You've got to read the manual, 3% Man. You got no reason to. I even give it away for free. People can read it for free in their web browser at understandingrelationships.com. Just subscribe to the email newsletter. So you got no excuses to learn this stuff. All it takes is your name and your email, and boom, you'll be reading it instantly on any mobile device. So you gotta learn the basics. So he started dating a woman about a year ago, and things got serious pretty quickly. But about a month into their relationship, her son dies in a violent crime, and ever since then she's backed away. And he says he's tried to be supportive, but you can tell he's way more into her than she is in him, and he's literally, without realizing, is chasing her right out of his life to the point where she's telling him that she needs space because he's controlling. And so he doesn't recognize that he's acting needy and somewhat neurotic. But again, I can't roast him too bad because he's brand new to my work and hasn't read the book, but got to read the book, dude. No way to get around it. There's no shortcuts to success. And just from reading this, it sounds like it's a pretty simple situation to resolve, but there's also some things that you'll see at the end of the email that she's doing that are some red flags that we need to be concerned about as well. So he says, "Hey coach, I haven't read your books. I just saw some of your videos on YouTube after looking for answers to my situation." Well, the way you're behaving is totally unmasculine. You're acting more feminine and girly and unsure of yourself. You're acting like the chick in the relationship. And that's why it's turning your girl off, and that's why she gets a little cranky and a little bitchy, is because you're acting weak. In a way, she's poking and prodding your strength, hoping that you'll start acting like a man consistently and stand up to her when her behavior is inappropriate or she talks to you in a condescending or a bitchy tone. Women like it when a guy calls them out on their BS. He says, "So I met my girlfriend about a year ago and we hit it off pretty quickly. Lots of sex and hung out every weekend. But soon after, about a month into the relationship, a tragedy happened and her son passed away due to a violent crime. After this happened, she would have cold and hot days towards me, which I understood due to this tragedy. I just tried to be by her side whenever she needed, but she seemed to push me away on those cold days, which I respected." I would have to say, after reading his email, no, you didn't respect it. She'd push you away and say, "I need space," and then you would keep chasing after her. You're constantly looking for attention and validation from her, instead of simply focusing on your purpose and your mission in life and allowing her to come to you at her pace. As the months wore on, it has gotten worse. She started to drift away more and more, cold days, not texting or calling or initiating contact. And here's where he says, "I'll admit I was doing most of that, which is a mistake." Yeah, as I talk about in 3% Man, a guy shouldn't do more than 20 to 30% of it. And anytime he does, it's too much pursuit. And especially when it's 50-50. Whenever I'm doing a phone session, the guy is telling me that he's reaching out 50% of the time and she's reaching out 50% of the time. I already know that at some point, when he's in his story, he's going to get to, "Oh, and she friend zoned me." Because what happens is there's no sexual polarity, and when it's 50-50 like that. A lot of women, they've been propagandized by the TV, and they believe the feminist nonsense. It's going to be 50-50. It's like, well, there's some things that you got to have the sexual polarity. Otherwise, a woman's going to be like, there's no chemistry. There's no spark. Something's missing. You're a great guy, but I should be feeling something more by now. And women go off what they feel. They care about how they feel about you, not how much you like them. How much you like a woman has no effect on her interest in you. She only cares about how she feels about you. She stated to me that right now she can't give me what I want in a relationship due to her grieving, and her mind is focused on other stuff like her other kids right now. So this is just that statement alone is the kind of statement that, so there's a couple things here. Guys that understand my work understand what this means. When a woman says, I can't give you what you want, she's being over pursued. She feels like she's being smothered. And as Thich Nhat Hanh said, you must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. So she doesn't feel free. She doesn't feel like she's making the choice to choose him because he's always up in her shit, basically. Always looking for attention and validation like a needy, insecure little girl, instead of being a man who has a healthy self-esteem and feels good whether his girl's with him or not. And so the other thing is, because I think he said they're in their 40s. Yeah, I said they're both in their early 40s. So obviously, I guess her kids are mostly grown, or maybe they're teenagers. And then you'll have these douchebags in the red pill community going, "Don't date single moms because they'll only focus on their kids and not you, and not make you a priority." And it's like, what's happening here is he's over pursuing her and smothering her to the point where she wants to get away from him. Instead of him being the rock and the mountain in her life and being the escape from this horrible tragedy that's happened, one of her kids dying, he's acting, in essence, like another one of her children that need attention and validation. And so he doesn't seem strong. He doesn't seem masculine. So she doesn't feel safe and comfortable enough trusting his masculine core, because he's basically treating her like his mommy. And she's got enough to deal with. He's overwhelming her, basically, instead of allowing her to come to him at her pace. It's like, it doesn't matter whether she's a single mom or not. Any woman you treat that way is going to be repulsed. And so logically, when she says, oh, it's grieving because of her son and she's focused on her other kids, what she's basically saying is, you're not that important to me. You're not a priority to me. Scarcity creates value, and he's too abundant in her life, and she doesn't want to feel like she's got to make the guy happy. He said, she said that she needed some space due to feeling controlled by me. Again, he's trying to force himself into her life instead of allowing her to come to him. So it's like he's already admitted that he's doing most of the pursuing. And quite frankly, I'm surprised she's still with him after all of this time, because it sounds like she's maybe doing 5% of the pursuing and he's doing 95% of it. And it doesn't sound like they get together very often. It's like maybe she throws him a mercy fuck every now and then just to get him off her back. He says, so it's been a week, and I haven't contacted her after that conversation, but she called me one time for 5 minutes to tell me she's feeling under the weather and felt a cold coming on in the morning before work. He says, I called her later that same day at night to check up on how she's feeling, but she did not answer. Again, when a woman tells you that she needs space, what she's saying is, you're smothering me. Stop calling and texting me 24/7. Stop looking for attention and validation and expecting me to be your mommy. That's what's really going on here. And so she reaches out once, and he thinks, okay, well, the space is over. Let me go back to over pursuing her. This is the same kind of things that guys do when they have a breakup, and then the woman pushes him away and friend zones a guy because he's just smothering the shit out of her. And then he finally backs off for a few weeks or a month or so. She comes back, and as soon as she starts reaching out, they go right back to the same behavior where they chased her out of their lives the first time. And that's what this guy's doing. He's literally chasing her out of his life. He says, I know grieving has no time limit, and I do want to be with her. The thing you're not paying attention to is, how much does she want to be with you? What is her effort, her level of effort to be with you? It's not there. You're more into her than she's into you. He says, but it is hard at the same time because it went from talking daily to now this. Yeah, it went from that for about 11 months ago. It was like that. And now it's obviously you've been seeking her attention and validation ever since. He says, I won't initiate any more contact, but I'll admit it's not a good feeling because I miss her. Exactly, it sucks. But the problem is the reason why you feel this way is because you're acting unnaturally. You're not acting like a man acts. You're basically acting like a woman. You're all up in your feelings and you're in your feminine energy. That's not your natural essence. That's why it doesn't feel good. He says, we're in our early 40s, by the way, and she has other kids to take care of. I have no kids of my own. Lastly, there are other issues. She has a pretty rough personality. I'm not sure if it's the grieving or her true self coming out after all this time. She does like to yell, talk down to me, and never agrees with me on different things. That's because she doesn't respect you as a man. She thinks you're a bitch. I know it's harsh, but that's the way she looks at you. And the other part is you don't stand up for yourself. You just sit there and you allow her to browbeat you into submission, and you just take it. It's like the dog's been kicked one too many times. It just sits around and lets you kick it. The fact that she's yelling at us, say, look, don't talk to me like that. It's like, that's not loving and kind. If there's something that's bothering you, we can talk it out, but you're not going to yell at me. And if she continues to yell, I just say, look, I'm going to go. You call me when you calm down and you're ready to apologize and act like an adult. I'm not going to put up with this crap. It's just not loving. It's not kind. It's not sweet. And I'm not going to deal with it. And then leave. If she won't, you ask her in a loving way first. And if she still wants to yell at you, then you hop in your car and you leave. And let her call you a few days later. The fact that she's talking down to you, that just shows she doesn't respect you. And disagreeing with you, it's like she's combative and picking fights because she's just hoping you'll stand up for yourself and start acting like a man consistently. That's what she really needs. He says has the mindset that she also has the mindset that she knows everything, and if I don't agree, it's World War III. Again, because no one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. You're enabling her behavior. Just like Johnny Depp enabled Amber Heard's behavior. He was too nice and too soft. And he put up with a woman she's got multiple, I think she's got personality disorder. She's got all kinds of mental health issues, which are exacerbated by a guy that's being too nice and soft and putting up with their crap. Whatever you tolerate, you invite more of into your life. And so you're tolerating her bitchy behavior. You're tolerating her talking down to you. You're tolerating her being combative. And you're not saying anything because you're worried about losing access to the box. She's gone through my phone but won't let me see hers, which is a red flag. Yeah, if you're hardly ever seeing her, she's probably fucking some other guy. Because if she ain't fucking you, she's fucking somebody else. And people that constantly accuse you of cheating or doing something wrong, they're projecting. No one will ever do or say anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment. He says, she calls me insecure, which I don't agree with. Well, you are insecure because that's why you over pursue. Because you don't reach out because you miss her. You reach out because you want to know if she still likes you or if she still cares about you. That's insecure. A man is not concerned with these things. A man is focused on giving his love and his presence to people who value it and who reciprocate it. And then when people don't value and reciprocate, then he stops giving them his attention and his time. So she is right. You are insecure. You're treating her like your mommy instead of your queen and your teammate. He says, I didn't see this subject in your videos, so I thought I'd email you. Well, you gotta read the book, dude. You have to. If you want to have a chance at turning this around and get her to the point where she's head over heels in love with you and wants to be with you all the time and is stuck to you like a sucker fish, that's what women do and how they behave when they're in love with you. They always want to be around you. They always want to be touching you. They want to be close to you all the time. They want your attention all the fucking time. But you are doing the opposite of what you need to be doing in order to attract her back into your life. So what I would do nothing. I mean, you did say here that you're not going to contact her anymore. Let her do 100% of the pursuing. When you hear from her, assume she wants to see you, make a date. You're only going to ask 2 times in a row, and if 2 different times when she reaches out first, you invite her over for a date or out for a date, and she declines or gives you a bullshit answer, then never ask her out again or bring it up again unless she brings it up first. But we got some things to be concerned about. The issue with the phone. if she's going through your phone because she's worried you're doing something wrong, more than likely that reveals that she's probably doing something wrong. And so you won't really find out the truth until you allow her to come to you at her pace and she falls in love. Then she'll tell you what's really going on and why she's so concerned about what's in your phone. So there's a couple things that could potentially be major red flags. Again, when somebody, liars and cheaters, what they do is they accuse everybody else in their life of being a liar and a cheater, because that's who they are. They project what's inside in order to disassociate themselves from it and absolve themselves from any blame. But you got to read the book, dude, 10 to 15 times, and you got to apply what it teaches and let her do 100% of the pursuing. Make dates when you hear from her. Again, if she reaches out, you should look at also what 7 Principles Get an X Back says. So if you, and I discuss this in the book, if you ask twice, 2 different consecutive occasions when she reaches out, you try to set dates, and she's just like, oh, I'm busy. Oh, I got to get my life together. Oh, I'm just having such a tough time, or whatever it happens to be. The bottom line is her actions are saying she doesn't really give a shit about getting together with you. Because you want to spend your time with somebody who's like, hell yeah, I'd love to see you. I'd love to spend time. I miss you. I want to see you. You're not getting any of that here. You're treated like you're a nuisance, basically, because quite frankly, you are. You're treating her like your mommy that you need an attaboy from. And that is just totally unattractive. Number one most important thing that women find attractive in men is confidence. And you are displaying none of that with your behavior. So you need to clean up your game if you want to have a chance at saving it. But again, it's like, I would be, once you start spending more time with her, then you'll be able to kind of see what's really going on with the phone issue. But there might be another dude in the picture. She might be a liar and a cheater and not worth your time. But you don't know what you don't know yet. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.